And what's interesting about the news conference is what they offered today was a temporary one-day solution to do bills that they thought were non-controversial. Senator Skelos mentioned one of them that's controversial that wouldn't be taken up would be mayoral control. Now, that's an essential bill, I would think, to a few people, and it should be taken up. But this proposal for a temporary 1 or 2 day solution has been on the table since the first negotiation session. And I've been involved in the negotiations, and it hasn't changed one iota. And Senator Sampson and Smith have said on numerous occasions, let's get these bills out of the way first, and then we can worry about all of these other issues. The fact of the matter is, the vote that changed the leadership took place on June 8th. It is now June 29th. If 3 weeks isn't enough to resolve an equal sharing arrangement that's permanent from now until the end of next year, when there will be a new elected legislative body, then I don't know how much time you really need. So nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed in their proposal has been who's been at the negotiation table. June 15th and 17th, Senators Sampson, Smith, Klein, Kruger, Liz Kruger, Eric Schneiderman. June 18th, Sampson, Smith, Klein, Aubertine, Carl Kruger, DeLon, Montserrat, and Parker. June 22nd, Sampson and Smith, as it was on June 25th and June 26th. June 27th, we get a new change of negotiators. Neil Breslin, Tom Duane, Diane Savino, Jeff Klein, and John Sampson. Same group the following day, the 28th, except John Sampson wasn't there. Of course you can't get a permanent solution if you've got different people showing up with different agendas every single time there's a negotiation. The fact of the matter is 3 weeks was plenty of time. In fact, 24 hours is plenty of time to get a permanent solution. And let me tell all of you what that permanent solution is. Very, very simple. And it's been on the table for weeks. Each conference approves its own expenditures, and each side will have the authority to hire its own employees. Equal financial wherewithal to do that. Because 31-31 is what the Democrats are saying is 50%, 50%. That's equal. Floor operations, Senate presiding officers selected by floor leader on a rotating basis. Floor leader will be from the opposite conference of the presiding officer. Pretty logical, pretty equal. The term limits we talked about before, 8-year term limits for committee chairs, 6-year term limits for Senate leaders. You know, all of these things, or most of these things, were in the reforms that the Democrats sued us for a couple years ago and campaigned on last year. Committees, co-chairs of Senate committees, equal conference membership on committees. Now, that's pretty equal. 31-31, 50%, 50%. Senate central staff, equal allocations for each conference. Member staff, the same. Committee staff, the same. Co-secretaries of the Senate, so we don't have someone holding one part of the Senate hostage, turning off cameras and the like. I'm not quite sure whether the cameras are off yet, but that could happen at any time. But with co-secretaries, that won't happen. 31-31, equal. And the length of agreement, as I said at the outset, is until the end of next year, when there'll be a new Senate group elected in November. January 1, whoever becomes the leaders become the leaders. Now that's pretty equal, and that's permanent. And it's essential that it be permanent. And the reason it's essential that it be permanent until the end of next year is because nobody in this state, let alone all of our members, want to have a battle over who's going to preside every single time between now and the end of next year when we've got to come back to session. Could you imagine having this battle postponed, as the Democrats want, postponed until budget time next year, when the state is in the financial jam that it's in, it would be unconscionable. So, unless the Democrats can tell anybody that's present or listening to this what's wrong with equal if they say it's 31-31, what's wrong with that? And why can't we do it on a permanent basis? There's only one potential answer that's honest. And that one honest answer is that they don't want this resolved. They want to keep things the way they have it. They want to control the bill jackets. They want to control how this House is operated. They don't want to share the resources as they've claimed that they do. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's the time for the permanent solution. And it can be done immediately. This has been offered for 3 weeks. And if they can't do it today, they'll never do it, and there's no reason to hold these discussions to a later date. So, it's time to get everyone back in the session. It's time to do it with an equal arrangement, as I've outlined, and it's time to make it permanent so this nonsense is over until a next legislative body is elected. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator DeFrancisco.